here.
Let's get it started in here.
I got my... yeah.
Oh, Larry, I was going to say, you know how, like, a long time ago, we're like, oh, we should say, like, what beer we're drinking, like, the 11 o'clock guys do or something like that?
Uh-huh.
I think we should do that anyway. Like, we did it for, like, a minute, and then we stopped. But it's like, I'm drinking a beer.
Well, I got
just a quick laugh.
I got my 2 cans of LaCroix. Must be a Seattle podcast.
Those things blew up LaCroix. Holy moly. I'm having an Alaskan Amber, so.
I love those Alaskan Ambers. No, but I don't do the flavored LaCroix.
You do the plain LaCroix?
I do plain LaCroix. I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid.
Wow,
I don't know. What is that?
Are you serious? You're so bad for the environment.
Oh.
You should just make your own water. No, there's these machines that you can get that'll, like, make LaCroix for you. And it's like, way, way, way cheaper and better for the world.
All right. I have not yet drank that Kool-Aid.
All right, then.
I don't know, like, social revel.
You can choose how bubbly to make it.
Something positive. I don't know.
Okay.
We have started the show. Hi, and welcome to Seattle's #1 comic book podcast. This is the podcast that is dedicated to the first issue of your next favorite comic. I'm Larry.
James. And
this is episode 72. Spoiler alert. Alerted. I don't know. Yes. Spoiler alert. This is episode 72. Image Comics.
What's the name of the book, Larry? 0.
And I'm going to say
this
right off...
This isn't episode 0, but it is episode 0.
It's episode 0. I'm going to say that this cover...
What a great joke I just made.
This cover... I was trying to go somewhere with the LaCroix joke, and I just can't put it there yet. We'll come back to it. LaCroix, the Kool-Aid that I have yet to drink. The flavored LaCroix.
Larry.
All right.
You can't backtrack here.
All right.
Okay.
We're going.
So we're reading 0.
We're going forward with 0.
A comic book that we read the first issue of. But before we start the first issue of the issue of comic we read, that was very roundabout. Larry's got some recent indecents for us this week.
Exactly.
A little peek into what's new in the world of comic books. By Larry.
All right. So, all-time comics, and I think this has been a recent indecent 3 times now. So Recent and Decent, All Time Comics has come up with a team. They've got Bullwhip. I don't know if you remember me talking about Bullwhip. I know that I talked about Atlas, and I know that I talked about Crime Destroyer.
Okay.
So this is the 4th person to the team. This is Blind Justice. Blind Justice #1 from All Time Comics. This is
Blind Justice? I was just thinking about Blind Justice.
This is written by Josh Byer with art by Rick Buckler Jr. and Al Milgram. Like I said, it's All Time Comics. Now, Blind Justice...
Wait. Okay, this is a very quick tangent, but I was thinking about it not 2 hours ago. Is the reason the devil is bad or cruel because he's not blind when he serves his justice? That he, takes pleasure in it? Is that why he's bad?
Wow, that's too deep for this podcast, man.
Blind Justice, I was just thinking about it. That's why it's...
I think justice is blind.
Yeah, it should be.
Like the scales of justice. Like, we only hear the cases.
It's the letter of the law, not the opinion.
Yeah, there you go. Letter of the law. But Blind Justice is a character who lives in a trauma center. He is a patient at the trauma center. He is treated by 2 doctors. One of them is the beautiful Dr. Nutley.
Oh.
Her last name is Nutley, and she is Dr. Nutley.
Name?
And she's beautiful, and he protects her when she goes out on
She goes nuts?
No, she goes into the field to help
help.
She goes out onto sort of like a Doctors Without Borders thing, and of course their ship gets overtaken by pirates, but Blind Justice is there for her. Now, Blind Justice is...
Wait, what kind of pirates?
Oh, bad guys. Just bad guys. They come in on a helicopter drop down.
Oh, like modern day pirates.
Now this is going to be a stretch for you because this is kind of like a revisit to like the 80s, 70s comics. So the paper on this, I don't have it in front of me. I've already handed it off. But the paper on this is that pulpy, gross paper. It looks like you're going to get 1 or 2 reads out of this before the words fade away. Like that's just crappy this paper is. But that makes it better, right? So Blind Justice
I guess so.
is like a janitor at this trauma
Larry,
center.
It seems like that makes it worse.
It does. It's sad. It's sad, but it's the nostalgia of this paper.
Makes each reading more valuable.
Exactly. And so whilst you're flipping through this, you find out that Blind Justice is a character who can just wrap some gauze on his face, pick up his bat, and protect the Doctor from it's very reminiscent.
Like Daredevil, where it takes away the eyes and then the other stuff is better.
No, he's a mute, a deaf. He's just sort of this guy, and
dumb blind kid, but he can play some pinball.
Exactly, but pinball in the form of like cracking skulls, very much like a savage dragon. He jumps into this mix. And it's punch up after punch up. They end up on like a deserted island that's ran by, well, this terrible island where they're forced to be like slaves, and there's like the salacious, like the leader is going to like do terrible things to Dr. Nutley, but that's not going to happen because Blind Justice has swam to the island. It is so good. I'm not really giving Blind Justice the justice it needs, but you have to check this out. Like I said,
it's just desserts, Larry.
Just
give him the desserts. That's what Larry's about.
All-time comics. It's very, very gritty, very visceral, and there's a double page splash with this art that looks like it's right off your brother's Peachy. You know, like he drew it like in everybody's in Blind Justice gives this speech. Like when he's Blind Justice, he can do these things. He gives this
I learned
speech.
my multiplication tables, those peachies.
He can give that oomph to these poor downtrodden, and they fight for it, and they take over the island, and including Dr. Nutley. She's got a knife and she's stabbing, and it is gory. And this one page, these 2 pages together is worth the price of admission. So check it out. That is Blind Justice, All-Time Comics, Recent and Decent.
There you go. Good, recent and decent. I may or may not be checking that out.
No, yeah, I'm gonna push this hard. I'm gonna push it hard.
Okay. I'll do it.
I got some.
I'm a pushover. You pushed me.
Well, I got some blowback from the guys in the club about Atlas, Bullwhip, and Crime Destroyer.
That they were being overrepresented in the recent and decent section of our podcast.
So I really pushed for.
So you
Blind
just went
Justice.
right back at him. You're like, hey, you thought 3 was too much. Now you got 4.
The team is complete. All right.
All right.
James,
so should we jump into 0?
Give us the setup here.
All right. So the setup is this cover is like really, really sick. And like, I think it should be illegal for the cover artist to be different than the interior artist from here on out, Larry.
I was going to, I only stepped on this for a second, but I think this cover rocks. And this
could be cover of the year.
It could be cover of the year.
I'm like, holy cow, if this is what the inside is like, this book could be crappy in every other direction and I'd still love it.
This cover is great. It's just so stark, so bright.
It's so bright. It's just yellow and red, but somehow you can tell he's wearing a camouflage shirt, and the camouflage is done so well, and it's got like an emotional feel, like you can tell the tone of the book just by like how you feel looking at it. I don't know why this cover did it to me so strong, but like I wanted to read it.
Yeah.
Hoping the inside would be the same, but
Well, they switch up artists on the on the interior art.
Larry, why do they trick us like that?
Well, you can, like, a lot of times, James, you and I are not, well, I don't know. We're not completionists. Sometimes you gotta have one of everything. And they'll do something in the comic book world called variant covers. So they give this guy a little bit of work, they give that guy a little bit of work. It's all of the same material.
We'll throw him a cover.
And, like, for example...
So then there's guys who just do covers and they need work.
And then there are people who have to have every single cover. And for example, issue 100 of The Walking Dead had 100 covers.
They got you those. It's targeted marketing. They gotta catch them all.
Yeah, so I would want this cover. I don't know. I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go to look at the other covers, but this cover rocks.
But it tricks me.
It did trick you because the interior work is not the same. This isn't the
only book that's done it. That 27 did it recently too.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like if I was the inside guy, I'd be like, wait, but like I wanted to do the cover.
Yeah, no, you're not.
You're not going to be the inside guy and be like, I hate doing covers. That's what you want to do.
But the inside guy probably works faster.
Yeah, but it's not as pretty.
Now, I made a big deal last week about the colors in this, and I really wanted to point out Jordi Belair. So the book is, like we said, Zero. It's written by Els Cott and art by Michael Walsh. Not the cover. We'll figure out who did the cover here a little bit later. And Jordi Belair did the colors. Now, Jordi Belair has like quite a resume of color work, and she also did the Pretty Deadly Manhattan projects.
Yeah, that's right. Those were great color.
And she also did one of James's favorite books, Hawkeye. She did the colors for the Hawkeye.
I really like the purple and black. I can totally see there being a good colorist for that.
Exactly. But here she doesn't really get a chance to really take flight. Not in this first issue anyway.
Okay.
All right, but give us a setup, James.
Most of the color things they're more big picture things that are like it'll be the whole thing's blue and one thing's orange, or like the background's blue and this is a green or something like that.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really effective in the Manhattan projects, where there was this really cartoony and cool red and blue, like a very bright red and bright blue that had like symbolic meaning behind the characters. But yeah, it just wasn't as accessible for this kind of story, I guess.
Well, what she does here is most of the story takes place in a battle zone in the Middle East. And
so like our main character seems to be some kind of like special agent in a war, some kind of like James Bond or Jason Bourne kind of character who has to like operate beneath the knowledge of its own military. Like, he deals with the projects that the military is not supposed to know about. And, you know, it doesn't matter, like, when he gets an order that nobody's to know about it, that could be like killing, military people on his own side to do so.
Which he does.
Which he does. And I thought that really showed like, okay, it would really set the character type, I suppose, like that he's as deep down as you go into the underbelly of espionage, I guess.
Right. And he has a task here at hand, and the task at hand is to sneak into this highly volatile fight between two guys who are carrying tech that make them more than it's almost like Tony
like
Stark.
Cyborgs.
Yeah. So they have this tech buried in their chest
and like each of the other sides wants the tech. Like they're not concerned about the individual as much as like their technology, of how they created them, or like it does a good job of like going into a little bit about